everyone, and welcome to my channel. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Holly Lee. I'm known for my VIP coaching that I teach to help you get your job into FAANG. In this case, I gotta be honest, 90% of my members are all interviewing at AWS very specifically. With that in mind, I would love to take this opportunity because generally I live stream every single week in the afternoon for US and EMEA, but I get a lot of you. I'm listening. If you're from India, from Japan, from China, from Beijing, wherever you are in the Asia, East Asia, please say hello. I would love to know where you are watching from. This evening live stream is for you because I have a special guest. Her name is Ridhima. She is a marketing manager focusing on building the developer community for AWS in India. So with further ado, I would love to have her in here. There you go.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello. Hi, Holly.
hello,
How are you?
hello. I would love for you to
My
make a
pleasure.
brief introduction of who you are. What are you doing for Amazon?
So, hello, everybody. I am Ridhima Kapoor, currently working as a developer marketing manager with AWS India. So, as part of my role, I work very closely with the developer communities in India and South Asia and help them educate about AWS services and engage with each other, right? So, and we have a very vibrant and thriving developer community in India.
Now, I know that you have a bittersweet journey. Let's take a step back. What was your journey like? I think you mentioned that you were rejected before you landed your position at Amazon. So, what was your story like? What was your journey?
Yeah, so when I was working in my previous company, right? So I'll just give you a little background on, in fact, 10 years back when I started my corporate journey, right? So I've been into tech marketing for about a decade now. So over these 10 years, I've worked with all sizes of companies from very small startups that you might have never even heard about to mid-sized brand like Gameloft, my personal favorite one, to big brands like Google and now Amazon. So prior to joining developer marketing at AWS, I was working in the same role of developer marketing with Google, where I was taking care of developer communities for Google Play, Android, and Google Chrome. Developer marketing is actually a very, very niche role, right, under marketing, and you'll find them only in certain companies or brands. After 2 years of working with Google, I was just trying to look for a change, and I was interviewing during peak pandemic time, wherein there were less job opportunities. And I remember interviewing for a lot of companies from small startups to mid-sized brands, but nothing was converting. I got rejected from about 11 companies, right, in
How
a
dare
span of
they?
say 9 months, right? And my confidence level was at all-time low. I thought if I cannot make it to a small startup in India, in Delhi, how will I ever make it to any other company, right? So that was my this thing. So when I saw this profile for developer marketing manager at AWS, I applied for it, and to be honest, in back of my mind, it was all going on that if I haven't made it to a small company, I won't be able to make it to Amazon. And I had actually applied to Amazon multiple times before, but I have not heard from Amazon before. So I was not keeping my high hopes from Amazon, to be honest. But when I applied for this developer marketing role, within 2 days, I got an email from the hiring team saying we do a phone screening with you. And that was the moment, when I realized that this is like a do or die moment for me. I will not get this opportunity, and then I have to go back again to ground zero, right? Searching for more jobs and applying for more interviews, and it would be like getting rejected from the 12th company. So I did not want to make that, right? So
Right.
so I worked really hard. I prepared, and I'll in fact talk about this in a lot more detail later. That how I actually created like a 40-page notes for my examples and stories for Amazon and prepare for the interview that actually helped me get this job at AWS.
I think it's really interesting because everyone has got its own journey, and I'm so glad that you were able to take some time and just come on as a guest speaker for me.
So it's been like mini dream come true. So a year back, I was looking at your videos to prepare for my interview, and today I'm actually getting featured in your channel to share tips with other people to get into Amazon. So I think this is like the life has come the full circle, right? So, and that is why probably I couldn't sleep last night because I was so excited for this live stream.
Oh my goodness. Well, I couldn't sleep. I mean, I'm not saying this to be cheesy, but I don't know. I feel like I'm so excited waking up or barely sleeping every day because every day when I read through my LinkedIn messages, this is true story, or like on YouTube, I personally read through every single thing. It's just that when people like you, when you were to say, hey, by the way, I landed a position at Amazon. This is my dream job. Thank you. It's that feeling where you can't even pay me to do what I love. It's just, it's organic, right? I love all my gentlemen members out there, but I wanted to just kind of pause and focus on like women in technology a little bit. I'm so passionate about that space because women, I feel like have a lack of confidence in overall because we have the imposter syndrome. We're not good enough. I thought I wasn't good enough. Even this YouTube channel,
Yep.
it was funny because we literally had this chat. I'm like, so what resources is your best website? And you're saying right here. And I'm like, I felt embarrassed every time when someone says that.
Yeah.
You know, because as women, I think we hold ourselves accountable and we have such high standard. It doesn't matter what it is. I think that we're never really satisfied, right? So I think your
True.
story is very inspirational. With that in mind, what is it like working in the India culture at AWS? You mentioned startup and big company before. How does that like comparison to like the AWS culture?
The culture at Amazon is very, very peculiar, right? And the prime differentiator has to be our leadership principles. And why do I say that it's a prime differentiator? Because, see, in any other company that I've worked before, right? So every company has its own core values, but those are, you'll actually see only mentioned on the website and nobody really talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
But at Amazon, I know a lot of people are aware that Amazon, leadership principles while they're preparing for the interview. But when you actually join the company, you realize that they are much more than just a guide for hiring. These leadership principles are actually like a North Star to guide you in the right direction. And you
Mm-hmm.
will get these leadership principles in actually daily conversations with your colleagues, right? We talk it about on our daily projects like, see, we need to take ownership on this. Where's the bias of action on this? This particular decision is not customer obsessed. Why are we talking about it? So we do that kind of discussions every single day. And all these leadership principles like ownership, bias for
Mm-hmm.
action, customer obsession, so these have actually become a part of my personality and a way of life right now,
I'm
and
so
that's
glad you
how
said that.
Amazon
Yes, you take them anywhere
culture.
you go.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, so it really grows on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, one peculiar thing about Amazon is Amazon has now grown into such a big company, but it actually operates on a very startup, fast-paced culture, right? So I remember when I was interviewing at Amazon, one of my friends who has worked with Amazon in the past, so he mentioned that there's an internal joke that if you have worked at Amazon for a year, it is equivalent to working for 5 years in any other
Mm-hmm.
company.
Yep. By
So
the way,
honest,
congratulations for your 1 year anniversary. Yes. I
thank
don't know if you can
you.
see the firework, but there's fireworks coming on right now. Yes.
I can see
Congratulations. It
that.
felt like yesterday. Time flies.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? So honestly, I did not pay any here. Like, it's okay. So everybody says that, but when you actually join here, you realize that the learning curve and the growth opportunities are immense.
Yep.
So I remember in my first year of AWS, I was working on multiple projects at the same time. And in fact, that
Mm-hmm.
is like a very usual thing for any
Mm-hmm.
Amazonian, right? So
Yep.
everybody in my marketing team is currently working on multiple projects at the same time, right? So that's how it is.
I was really impressed when you reached out to me for the Women in Tech speaker because I was like, wait a minute, didn't you just join a few months ago? You're running all of this? Really? Like you're running for the entire conference virtually? Girl, do you know how hard it is
Yeah,
running anything virtual? I only have one guest speaker
I
at the
know.
moment. So you're talking about a line of guest speaker. First, you got to reach out to them. You need to make sure they're committed. You need to make sure they have a topic. They're ready to go.
I
And
know.
if anything happened on their end, it falls on you because it's your project. You take ownership. So I was kind of blown away. It was so quick. I felt like you just started a job and they gave you all of that.
Yeah, I remember that was like in the first 3 months of my joining, right? And
Yeah,
we
I
had the
remember.
speakers from across the globe. You were joining us from US. We had speakers from Australia. We had speakers from Singapore. We had community members from India and South Asia. So we have about what 15
Hmm.
speakers in total, and all such wonderful women who have like really nice, inspiring stories to share, and that was incredible.
Can you share with us
Yeah,
a little
and
bit about your process? For example, did you apply to the job? Were you a referral? Do you guys do recruiter screen in India? Recruiter screen and then the phone screen and loop for your role?
so for me, I directly applied on the website, right? And I did not have the recruiter screen in my process, but I've heard in a lot of my other friends' process who have applied to Amazon
Hmm.
that they got a recruiter call. For me, it was like a direct phone screening with one of the person who was predecessor from me, right? Who was
Hmm.
working in the role before me. So she interviewed me for the role for phone screening.
I wouldn't waste time phone
Thank
screening you either. Go ahead.
yeah, and in fact, I have a lot of things I want to share with everybody in terms of what is it that really helped me land a job in AWS, even when I was not really expecting. And you said these women are like really low in confidence, but
Hmm.
now the whole Amazon experience has helped me get there. So the first thing is profile fitment. It is very, very important to know if your current profile matches the profile that you're applying for. So I was working in the same role in Google before. So I had the matching skill sets and the profile fitment. And by profile fitment, I do not say 100% profile fitment.
Hmm.
Even if you have a 70% profile fitment, that is all right. In fact, there should be some learning and growth opportunities too. Second thing that really helped me is preparation. And by preparation, I do not mean by just reading a lot of material or watching a lot of videos. Yes, that is necessary. But by preparation, I mean writing down your stories and examples in star format and time your answers, right? And like I said before, I made a 40-page note just for Amazon interview, and I'm not exaggerating.
Everyone's got their own different style, but let me ask you this though. How long did it take for you to write a 40-page answer or notes with all the questions? You were driving yourself crazy.
So it was funny. So it took me like a 1 week and all
That's
the
it? One
examples and
week?
answers. Yeah, because I like 1 week, I was just preparing for this. I took an
Wow.
off for 1 week. Right, I was just focusing on this because I told you, right, for me it was like a do or die situation. So either I would have like given my 100% and got selected, or I would have been back to square zero. Because you're not just giving examples from your just current job, but you're actually giving or writing answers maybe from the first job you ever did,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So to remember everything, you need time to prepare and
Mm-hmm.
write it
Yep. You
down
do
so
need
that you
time.
don't forget.
Now, that is the craziest thing I have ever heard, Ridhima. Usually it takes about, for example, what I teach in the VIP coaching is called fast track. So within 1 week, they can have perfect story. But I heard a lot of excuses in the book. Well, I have a full-time job. Well, you got to make time, right? You have to. But most people that I've seen who can get a job within a short period of time, you have to be able to treat it like a full-time job. I actually advise people, if you can, take a PTO, take a week off, because Amazon loves to go deep. They don't want to know, what did you do when you were at Google? They want to know, can you walk me through exactly when things fall apart? How
Exactly.
did you pick it up, rebuild it? Tell me how you rebuild things and what was the result. So a lot of people, when I talk about the STAR method, it's really funny, right? A lot of folks says, oh yeah, STAR method. I know, Holly, it's all over the internet. I'm like, okay, you just compare me to everyone on the internet then. So how's that going for you? Because the
Yeah.
way how I teach the STAR method, it's not from google.com or I'm copying from someone. I got it from being a trainer at Making Great Hiring Decisions. You told me just sign up for that. Just after doing it
Yep.
for so many years, you kind of incorporate your own style. I think meeting with stakeholders, with executive and hiring leaders, I was getting beaten up every single meeting for so long. That's where I have the 60-second rule. Or less, because these executives expect you to get to the point, tell them what they want to hear, what is the problem here, Where's your solution? Don't come to us and tell us what your problem is. Just like when you're answering in an interview, don't tell us for a 5 minute what is wrong, but tell us how did you fix it, right? So thanks to
Exactly.
Amazon, I was able to gain that part of the experience. And after thanks to all the stakeholder that was being very hard on me, they're not hard. They have high bar. And I love people with high bar. That's the only way for you
Exactly.
to grow, right?
They will appreciate on whatever you are working, right? They'll give you kudos, they'll recognize your efforts and everything. But at the same time, they will also push you to give your even 100% better. So we have a leadership principle, right? Hire and develop the best. Our efforts will be recognized, but they will also push you to how you will actually move to the next level. So I think that is really fantastic. And
Mm-hmm.
having
Yep.
all these career journeys is very, very common, right? We do it almost on a weekly basis. So I think this is really, really fantastic at AWS.
What are some of the common mistake that you have seen? You've been there for a year, so obviously you've had done a lot of interviewed. What are you seeing?
The one biggest common mistake that I see is people don't prepare or time their answers very well. And I'll tell you, I'll give you a very, very logical reasoning behind why you should need to prepare better and time your answers well. So, see, we have a very limited time for an interview, say 60 minutes. So, if you keep going on and on with your answer for 5-10 minutes, and let's say they cross question you for another 5-10 minutes, so you are basically spending 15 to 20 minutes on just one question.
Mm-hmm.
And the chances are that they might not be able to cover all the questions that they had initially planned to ask you, which in turn will give them very less data points about you to mention in their notes. So when all these interviewers are meeting for a debrief, after all your loop interviews, they won't have enough data points to vouch for you and give you a positive vote, and the chances are you will not get hired.
Mm-hmm.
So think
Yep.
from that perspective and time your answers well.
I don't know if you hear the clapping hand in the background. I think I was the first YouTuber that talked about timing your answer because let me tell you, it's not that Amazon is being rude, but listen to what Ridhima just said. Even within the first 3 months, she was running a conference. I'm talking about all of Southeast Asia. I'm not talking about one little tiny conference, right? Internationally, within 3 months. In any other FAANG company, you got 90 days. You don't even have to do anything to onboard. You know, at Amazon, it doesn't work that way. That is why at Amazon, you do not want to waste people's time. If anything, it will teach you how to be very efficient and extremely effective. Extreme. No one really teaches you, like at Amazon, they don't teach you how to write the star method. You just know what it is. And you just kind of know better once you've been there for a while as an Amazonian, right? I just know that I have to get to the
Yep,
point. People's attention span is so short right now. Within 30 seconds, you
true.
all are falling asleep. The biggest thing about star, don't write every single thing word by word. In the beginning, sure, because you need to be scattered, right?
Yep.
You need to put it all out like brainstorm section. But once you do it again and again, now use a yellow mark, Sharpie or something, highlight things that you can remember. When you're an Amazonian, you've got directors and Jeff Wilke sitting in your room. You better be quick. 60-second is a long time. You better come with a paper. Everything has to do with a paper. Are you guys still getting a high volume of applicants? Do you guys have recruiting events out there? How does one land a job interview for the India market?
The hiring bar at India is like really, really high. So I'll tell you what, I can talk for my marketing team,
I
right?
don't think he wants to hear that.
So the idea behind hiring at Amazon in general is that the new person that we are hiring should be at least like better than 50% of the existing folks in the team. In our marketing team, folks are already super, super talented and so good that to find somebody even better than them, it's like you really need to go find people of another breed only. So it's like really, really tough, right? But having said that, I would not discourage anybody from applying. Please do apply. Like I said, and I want to mention it here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter which company that you have worked before or which B school you have gone before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter at all. At Amazon, we actually promote unbiasedness during interview, right? So what really matters at the end of the day is first is, do you have the right skill set?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the right profile fit? And do you
Mm-hmm.
have the right working attitude? So these are the things that really matter when you are getting hired, right? One of the, again, I would want to mention it out. One of the key mistakes that I've seen people doing while applying for Amazon is that they apply for multiple jobs at same point of time, right? So, and at the back end, it just gives an impression that you yourself do not know that which job profile matches your skill set the best. At maximum, just apply for two jobs at a time, wait for some time, and if you do not hear back from the recruiters about that job, then apply and go ahead and apply for another job. But before that, please, and be very very particular about the job profile that they are asking for and versus what is the kind of job profile you currently have or you have done in the past, right? Exactly the right profile fit in developer marketing. So that is how it helped me got a job in AWS.
A lot of people ask me this. They said, well, what are some of the core LPs? I used to think that if you have 2 to 3 example in every single LP, can you get the job at Amazon? Absolutely. But that would drive yourself crazy because that's a lot. That's like 40 pages like Rahima here. So
I did
now,
that. I followed
so
that
now after
advice.
going through all of that, I created a top 27 questions. Even if you have one example, but they gotta be 27 different ROI, you're gonna get a job at Amazon and all the other FAANG companies. Okay, but the structures are the same thing. You have to use a star format. If not, you can't be concise, and the interviewers don't know what you have solved and how you're able to solve that. But just listening from your tone, you need a phenomenal amount of ownership. If you have ownership, you will have the bias for action, the customer obsession. You definitely will deliver result from your ownership. You have to think outside of the box. The biggest tip I can give you all is networking. Go look at I have a networking playlist. It teaches you how to look for the right recruiters or hiring managers. It teaches you like the country, how to Boolean search on LinkedIn. It teaches you what a template of message to reach out to them. You have to be very conventional when you reach out to people because they are bombarded with, can you please help me get a job? No. There's no, can you please help me get a job? It's more so why you're interested. Just a very quick one sentence or two. What was your ROI in the type of role that you are looking for? And that is it. What is the ideal time you should spend? If you are referring to prep time, if you have never worked for a tech company, at least a medium size, where you haven't launched or built anything that can have at least a million user, then you need to spend at least a month in prepping for an Amazon interview. But if you have had failed interview and many failed interviewed and you have never worked for a FAANG company, it takes 3 months.
Yeah, I would say be very, very prepared for the first time itself because whenever you are interviewing, right? So they actually see notes from your previous interview as
Mm-hmm.
well. So be prepared in the first time itself, right? And trust me, if you are rightly prepared, you don't need a second time. You will go through in the first time itself. And when you are prepared, it shows. And that actually gives a very, very good impression
Mm-hmm.
on the interviewer as well. And now that I am also an interviewer at Amazon, I can tell you even the interview comes with a lot of preparation. So
Are
you
you
have to
also
be
going to
prepared
the
as well.
BR program as well?
Not yet, not yet. Also, I actually want to add a couple of more tips, right? When people are interviewing, the people are actually so much focused on preparing that they forget about very little things, I'll tell you. So I'll give you one example. For example, when people just join in and your interviewer is just getting started, the interview asks you, hey, how are you doing? Do not just give a vanilla answer. Try to be a little more enthusiastic. Just show that how enthusiastic are you for this interview and the role.
Don't you feel like when you interviewed at Amazon compared to any other employee you've ever worked with, there's that like it's intense, but that fire that you really enjoy at the end of the day when it's all over?
Exactly.
If
So
you
you know
feel that
what?
way, that means you're culture fit. You're being trained
Exactly.
in that moment.
You know what? That actually brings me to another point that, do not take this as an interview.
Mhm.
In your mind, right? Otherwise, you have to take it as an interview. But in your mind, train it as a conversation that you're getting to know an Amazonian better, you're getting to know the job better. So that is what you call yourself a little affirmation in your mind, right? So you need to train yourself about that. So you have
Yep.
to bring out your personality, reflect better, and in fact, don't be afraid to add a little humor as well, right? Do not be afraid to get out that humor, right? It actually gets a really nice personality. But yeah, don't
Yep.
be inappropriate.
I mean, you want the employer to hire you from all of you. Uniquely you is what I like to put this. Most people are
Exactly.
so tense, so anxious, where, you got to put on crack a little joke, crack a little smile, let them know who you are, because Amazon doesn't have to be tense. It's hard work, but at the end of the day, the motto of hard work, play hard, they really meant it. I mean, they work really hard, but when they have delivered their goods, oh, you better bet they're playing really hard. God, I miss those times. Don't worry about how much money you're making now. Don't worry about, well, my offer is this and I'm making that. I feel like Amazon is stripping me, or I actually have people who says, I feel like Amazon is robbing me. Rob? I'm like, listen, no one is forcing you to take an offer. You could always negotiate if you want to, should you need, but if you're going to go work for any employer just for the money, go to like Google and Facebook. They're the most highest paying employer. I say that because I've actually worked for all of those employer. And guess what? My longest employer is still Amazon. And until today, this is like 25 years. I'm not going to work with anyone else. I'm done. I am done, girl. I'm not working for anyone else anymore. But Amazon is
Yeah.
still like the bread and butter of my knowledge and foundation. I think, do I know how to recruit? Hell yes. Do I know how to have great, stakeholder management? Hell yeah. Do I know how to be a great coach? Hell no. I didn't know what mentorship and coaching meant until I spent 7 years at Amazon. And, with that experience, it teaches you a different sets of skills. Okay. Amazon's total compensation, it is above market standard. It is. It doesn't always have to be, I want to make $1 million, $500,000. Do you want to make money? Of course, everyone does. But I believe that if you are truly happy in what you do, the money will come. I'm going to say this one more time. The money will come because it shows in your face, your attitude. You're going to get promoted. You're going to get a larger scope project. You're probably going to be able to move anywhere in the world that you want, travel anywhere of the world you want. You have to work for an employer that is the right culture for you. By the way, the biggest trick I can tell you, interviewers are being trained. If they're smiling at you like they're, you're probably not doing well. Okay, just an FYI. If you're
Yeah.
like this, that you're really not doing well. Unless they're giving you a really big smile, then yes, right? You can kind of sense the energy. Then it is your job to ask the interviewer, did I do a good job in answering your question? Just ask them. Don't be so shy and so tense. People are spending
Yep.
time in interviewing you because they saw a lot of potential on your resume and you pass the initial screen. So it's not just you interviewing with Amazon. It's the other way around. It's like ping pong. Evaluate the employer as well. Okay? If same questions are asked by different interviewers, can I use the same answer from previous interview?
That's why, Holly and everybody says that it have at least two examples for each question, right? Because everybody is taking notes. If you share the same example, trust me, you won't have a lot of data points for other interviews when they're discussing to vouch for you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
have at least two examples. So don't restrict yourself to one answer or one example. Show a different personality, show a different challenge that you have, faced and you overcame, right? So show that.
Any tips to get hired AWS in HR role? If you're interviewing in HR or in a recruiting, HR and recruiting are not the same, by the way. I'm in recruiting. HR are processing new hire orientations. Both of them have one thing in common. You need to have a very strong stakeholder management background because your stakeholder are going to tell you, don't come talk to me unless you have data. You make no sense. The door is right there. They're not being rude. They are running late to another meeting virtually now. They just don't have time for it,
Yep.
right?
The best thing that I like about working at Amazon or AWS
Mm-hmm.
is the entrepreneurial spirit and the freedom to innovate. When I joined AWS, I was given a blank canvas and I was told that I can paint it however I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I could take my own decisions. In fact, we are encouraged to experiment, and even if we fail, that is all right. But
Mm-hmm.
then your data comes into picture, right? So what were your objectives? What were your key success metrics? Where have you reached, and what were the reasons if you were not able to reach that? So have that data in point. What Amazon promotes is the culture of innovation, right? It is okay to fail, but what is not okay is to stop innovating.
Does AWS certification to your profile a chance of getting your resume shortlisted for the role? For what role are you referring to? Because I can tell you this though, if you don't have any cloud experience or AWS experience and you are account manager, a biz dev, program, whatever that is, you don't have to get it. But let me tell you, if you do have it, you are definitely going to raise an eyebrow because then the employer knows that you really want to be there. So there's no harm. If you have time and the fun, I would say go and get it. If your passion is to be working for AWS, I would say it is worth the money because everyone, all the hiring leaders, literally the companies, the hiring managers, they're all there. And that's a great opportunity for you to network as well. And it gives you a sense of motivation. If you can, you
Yeah.
have to invest.
Yeah. So in fact, as a developer marketing manager, I keep getting a lot of question on trainings and certifications, right? One, I would say don't think twice before taking any certification. It is only going to give value to your CV, your resume even more. And if you want to learn more about training and certifications, we have a lot of free resources available, right, on AWS Training and Certification Center. And in fact, we have a Reskill, AWSReskill.com, which is actually made by the developer community for the developer community to help them upskill on AWS. So there are a lot of resources available. So go through it and get the knowledge. And in fact, like I mentioned before, we have a lot of AWS user groups which actually help all these peers, right, to upskill them, share the knowledge, share the best practices on the new services. And we have a lot of programs running, right, Holly? So you might not know this, but we have a couple of programs for community, which is one is AWS user groups, right? Then we recognize a lot of people who are very actively engaged in the community. They go to community builders, and then whoever is like a community builder who's doing extremely well in terms of engaging the community, that person goes to become like the champion, which is AWS hero. And all these AWS hero get to travel to reinvent free from AWS, right? So it's like a
Oh.
free paid trip to reinvent every year to Las Vegas. And they have complimentary passes. They can attend any session, meet anybody. Last year, all these people, right, all the AWS heroes got a chance to meet Adam Slimsky, the CEO of AWS, directly. So all our Indian developers are actually reaching and representing India at global level reInvent. It's a very strong community, right? And that is why, and these people are so passionate in terms of helping each other, just rising with each other, growing together. So that is what the motto of this community is. So I would say start networking with people, get to know about AWS better, and in fact, in turn, it will actually increase your chances also to get hired at AWS.
Why don't AWS hiring team give detailed feedback or at least a one single line result? Do you believe they should give feedback to get better prepared? This is more of an HR question. That's why recruiters in all companies, not just AWS, don't provide any level feedback and they are as vague as possible because as much as they want to help you, it's going to rub people the wrong way. It's not AWS. It's not how many years experience you have had. It's what have you done? What have you built? What have you executed the right way? And were you able to articulate what you have done during the interview process? Okay. That is why Amazon is very fair, guys and gals. Okay.
So feedback is minimal, right? So we really don't want to offend people. And also because we get a huge amount of applications, right? So providing a feedback to each and everybody is humanly impossible. That is also one reason about that.
When you reach out to any employer, you just have to be very mindful. It's not that they don't care. It's not that they don't want to get back to you. It's just that when you reach out to one person, just assume that lots of people are doing the same thing. So you have to think of a way where it makes you stand out a little bit. Okay. She built Cloud Up community. Have you heard about that?
She builds, yes, it's actually come from our Australia team. They
Oh,
created this Women in Tech
oh.
theme, She Builds.
Is that part
And
of
we do
AWS
have
or external?
no, AWS only. AWS She Builds. And then we had AWS She Builds channel partner community in India. For a larger developer ecosystem, right now, we just have like a Women in Tech branding. So we are working on a specific Women in Tech program for Indian audience as well. But yes, She Builds is something that from AWS itself.
Thank you so much for your time. Rahima, I will let you back to your regular job. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. It's been
Thank you,
fun.
Holly. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And thank you for having me over this.
Of course, we'll stay in touch. Take care.